She was humiliated and fired in front of everyone. But the next day, her boss's entire world came crashing down. Welcome back to Wealth and Wounds, the channel that tells the stories of injustice, courage, and the strength of the human spirit. If you're tired of seeing people get walked over and love a story where justice is served, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into today's powerful story. In the bustling heart of Chicago, where glass towers scrape the sky and business empires rise and fall overnight, Marissa Grant was just another face in the crowd. A hard-working, single mother of two, she spent her days balancing spreadsheets at a luxury real estate firm and her nights helping her children with homework in their tiny apartment. She was known for her diligence and warmth, but to Nathan Cross, the CEO of Cross Realty Group, she was disposable. Nathan was a man of power, arrogance dripping from every word. He wore custom suits that cost more than Marissa's monthly rent, and his office had a panoramic view of the city skyline. He saw his employees as tools, nothing more. And Marissa? She was just a name on a payroll. It happened on a Monday morning. Marissa arrived early, as always, and went straight to work preparing financial reports for an upcoming investor meeting. She was nervous. This was a big day. By 9 a.m., the entire staff was gathered in the sleek glass conference room. Nathan stood at the head of the table, radiating power. His cold, sharp eyes scanned the room like a predator sizing up prey. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we're facing losses this quarter. I don't tolerate failure." His words sliced through the air like knives. Marissa glanced at her colleagues. Everyone avoided eye contact. Then Nathan's gaze landed on her. "Marissa Grant," he said, his voice icy. "Stand up." Her heart pounded. She rose slowly, clutching her notes. Nathan smirked. "You've been with this company for 3 years, correct?" "Yes, sir," she said softly. "And yet, despite your tenure, your department's numbers are abysmal." She swallowed hard. "I've been working overtime to—" "Excuses." Nathan cut her off, his voice rising. "In this company, results matter. And frankly, Marissa, you're dead weight." A gasp rippled through the room. Marissa's hands trembled. "Please, You're fired," Nathan said coldly. "Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." The room fell silent. Tears welled in Marissa's eyes, but she bit her lip, refusing to break down. She gathered her things as Nathan turned his back on her, already moving on to the next agenda item. She walked out of the building with her head held high, but inside, her world was crumbling. Marissa's 2 children, ages 8 and 10, greeted her with excitement when she got home that day, not realizing their mother's life had just been shattered. She sat at their small kitchen table, bills spread out in front of her, tears streaming down her face. Rent was due in 2 weeks. Groceries were running low. She had no savings. She tried to apply for other jobs, but Nathan's firm was prestigious. News of her firing spread quickly, and potential employers hesitated. Her landlord left a voicemail warning that he wouldn't wait for late rent this time. She felt trapped, suffocated by fear. But Marissa was no stranger to hardship. She'd raised her children alone after their father abandoned them. She'd worked 2 jobs while attending night school to get this job. She'd been underestimated her whole life, and she wasn't about to give up now. 3 days later, while walking home from a job interview that went nowhere, Marissa passed a small coffee shop. She ducked inside to escape the cold. Behind the counter was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes. "You look like you could use something strong," the woman said with a warm smile. Marissa chuckled weakly. Coffee would be great. As she waited, she noticed a flyer on the counter. "Women in Business Networking Event, tonight at 7 p.m. Something about it caught her attention. Maybe it was desperation, maybe fate. She decided to go. That night, Marissa stood nervously in a hotel ballroom, surrounded by confident women in suits. She felt out of place in her thrift store dress, but she introduced herself anyway, sharing her story honestly. One woman, Evelyn Rhodes, a powerful entrepreneur and philanthropist, was captivated by Marissa's resilience. "You've got grit," Evelyn said. "I like that." They exchanged numbers, and Evelyn promised to keep in touch. Marissa went home feeling a glimmer of hope for the first time in days. Meanwhile, Nathan Cross was facing his own storm. The investor meeting he'd fired Marissa over was a disaster. Financial discrepancies in the company's quarterly report raised eyebrows. Nathan tried to blame Marissa's incompetence, but auditors quickly discovered that the errors were due to Nathan's own reckless spending. Luxury trips charged to the company card. Questionable transfers to offshore accounts. The board of directors launched a full investigation. Nathan's arrogance had finally caught up with him. Weeks later, Evelyn Rhodes invited Marissa to lunch. "I've been thinking about your story," Evelyn said. "You have an eye for detail and a head for numbers. I'd like to offer you a position at my company, starting as a financial analyst." Marissa's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" Evelyn smiled. "I'm dead serious. People like you deserve a shot." Marissa accepted with tears of gratitude. For the first time in weeks, she felt hope blossom. Within months, Marissa proved herself indispensable at Evelyn's company. Her work ethic and brilliance didn't go unnoticed. Soon, she was promoted to a senior role, earning more than she'd ever dreamed. Her children's lives changed, too. They moved into a safe neighborhood, and Marissa finally felt she could breathe. 6 months later, Marissa attended a high-profile charity gala hosted by Evelyn's company. And who should she see across the ballroom but Nathan Cross? Only he wasn't the powerful CEO anymore. He was pale, sweating, and trying to impress investors who wouldn't give him the time of day. His company had collapsed under scandal, and he'd been forced to step down. Their eyes met. Nathan froze. Marissa walked up to him, radiating confidence in her sleek evening gown. "Marissa," he stammered. How have you been?" "Thriving," she said with a smile. He swallowed hard. "That's good." "You know," she said calmly, "getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me." Nathan's face flushed with embarrassment. She turned and walked away, her head high, while Nathan stood there, humiliated. Justice had been served. Marissa's story spread through the business community, inspiring countless women. She became a mentor to single mothers, helping them find careers and stability. Her firing, which once felt like the end of the world, had become the catalyst for her greatest triumph. But just when Marissa thought her life had finally found peace, one night, after putting her kids to bed, Marissa received a mysterious envelope in the mail. Inside was a single piece of paper with one sentence: "You're next." She froze, her heart racing. Was Nathan seeking revenge? Or had she made an enemy even more dangerous? Her heart thumped so loudly she could hear it in her ears. She quickly checked her locks, her windows, even peered through the blinds into the quiet street below. Nothing seemed out of place, but that note felt like a promise. She grabbed her phone and called Evelyn Rhodes, her boss and mentor. "Marissa? What's wrong?" Evelyn's calm voice steadied her slightly. Marissa whispered, "I got this letter. Someone's threatening me." "Stay calm," Evelyn said firmly. "Do you think it's Nathan?" Marissa hesitated. Nathan had humiliated her. Yes, but he'd lost everything. Would he really go this far? "I don't know," Marissa admitted. Evelyn didn't waste a second. "I'm sending security to your place. Tonight." "You're not alone, Marissa. We'll get to the bottom of this." By morning, 2 professional security guards were stationed at Marissa's apartment building. Evelyn insisted on it, and Marissa was grateful. But unease lingered like a shadow she couldn't shake. The next day at work, Marissa found an anonymous email in her inbox. "Stay quiet, or your kids will pay." Her hands shook as she read it. This wasn't a prank. This was serious. She immediately called IT. Within hours, they traced the email to a burner account. Whoever sent it knew what they were doing. Marissa's mind spun. She'd worked hard to rebuild her life after Nathan's betrayal. Why was this happening now, when things were finally looking up? Evelyn took action. She brought in a private investigator named Julian Hart, a former detective with a reputation for solving high-profile cases. Julian was calm and methodical. He asked questions Marissa hadn't even considered. "Any enemies outside of Nathan?" Julian asked, sitting across from her in Evelyn's office. "No," Marissa said. I keep to myself. I just focus on my kids and work." Julian leaned back. "Sometimes threats like this come from someone close." Someone who knows your routine. The thought chilled her. Who would want to hurt her? 3 days later, Julian called Marissa into his office. His expression was grim. I found something, he said, sliding a folder across the table. Inside were surveillance photos of a man she hadn't seen in years. Derek, her ex-husband, the father who had abandoned her children. Marissa gasped. No, it can't be him. He hasn't been in our lives for years. Julian's voice was steady. He was spotted near your building twice this week. Marissa's stomach turned. Derek was unpredictable and angry when he left. He blamed Marissa for everything. His failed business, his debts, even their divorce. Could he be behind this? While Marissa wrestled with fear and confusion, Nathan Cross was making moves of his own. His career was in ruins, but he hadn't disappeared entirely. A gossip column reported he was working on a tell-all book about corporate betrayal. In a TV interview, he blamed a certain ambitious employee for sabotaging him. Marissa's blood boiled. Not only was she being threatened, but Nathan was still painting himself as the victim. But she didn't have time to be angry. She needed to protect her kids. One rainy evening, Marissa was leaving the office when she noticed a shadowy figure leaning against a lamppost across the street. Her instincts screamed danger. She pulled out her phone to call security, but froze when the man stepped into the light. It was Derek. Marissa, he said with a smirk. Long time no see. Fear surged through her. What do you want? Just a little conversation, Derek said, taking a step closer. Stay away from me, she warned. He chuckled darkly. Relax. I'm not here to hurt you yet. But you owe me, Marissa. You owe me for ruining my life. Marissa's voice shook. I don't owe you anything. You left us. Derek's smile vanished. Watch your mouth. I'm giving you a chance to fix this. You're making good money now, huh? Maybe you can pay me what I deserve. Her hands trembled as she clutched her phone. If you come near my kids, You'll what? Derek sneered. You've always been weak. But don't worry. I'll give you time to think about it. He disappeared into the shadows, leaving Marissa shaking. The next morning, she told Julian everything. This isn't just harassment, Julian said. This is extortion. We'll set a trap. Evelyn agreed, and together they devised a plan. They'd arrange a meeting with Derek, secretly record everything, and hand the evidence over to the police. Marissa was terrified, but she knew she had to be brave for her children. The meeting was set at an empty parking garage late at night. Marissa arrived with a small purse. Inside, a recording device and a GPS tracker. Julian and his team waited nearby, hidden. Derek emerged from the shadows, his face twisted with bitterness. Got my money? He asked. Marissa took a deep breath. I don't have your money, Derek. I'm done being scared of you. He stepped closer, anger flashing in his eyes. You think you could just walk away? After everything I've been through. You chose this path, she said firmly. You left us. You hurt us. And now you're threatening your own kids. Derek's expression darkened. You're going to regret talking to me like that. He reached for her arm, just as Julian's team swarmed in. Chicago PD. Don't move. Derek froze, stunned, as officers surrounded him. They quickly found the threatening letters in his car, along with a gun. Marissa watched, tears streaming down her face, as Derek was handcuffed and taken away. The next day, Marissa sat in Evelyn's office, still shaken but relieved. You were brave, Evelyn said softly. You stood up to him. Marissa nodded, though her heart was heavy. Derek wasn't just her ex, he was her children's father. She'd have to explain everything to them. But she also knew something else. She wasn't that scared, powerless woman anymore. She'd faced her worst fear and come out stronger. Just when she thought things were settling, Julian called with unexpected news. Derek's been talking, Julian said, and he claims he wasn't acting alone. Marissa's blood ran cold. What do you mean? Julian sighed. He says someone paid him to intimidate you. Someone who wanted you out of the picture. Marissa's heart raced. Could it be Nathan? Was this his revenge? Julian's voice lowered. We don't have proof yet, but it looks like Derek was just a messenger. Whoever's behind this is bigger than we thought. That night, as Marissa tucked her kids into bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching her. Her phone buzzed with a new text from an unknown number. You should have stayed quiet. Marissa's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't over. To be continued. What would you do if you were Marissa? Should she confront Nathan or go straight to the police? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wealth and Wounds to see part 2 of this gripping story.